Well, hey guys, welcome back to the YouTube and welcome back to the channel, and happy new year to all of those that watch our videos. And we're now coming to you in the glorious 4K, so if I look a bit older and a bit more disheveled, that's definitely why. Today we're headed to officially the coolest place to live in the UK, and somewhere that's constantly voted as one of the most prettiest and beautifulest harbours here in Cornwall. That's right, we're heading to the fantastic Polperro near Looe to check out the beautiful harbour and picturesque coastal town. However, we can't make a video about Polperro without talking about the car parking. Now, this is somewhat of an issue that people raise continuously. If you Google Polperro car park, you'll see the problems. There's only one public car park in Polperro. It doesn't take card and you have to pay in cash, in pound coins. And imagine now if you're staying for a week in Polperro, your accommodation has no parking, you have to bring £40 in pound coins to park in that car park for a week. Absolute craziness. The locals are annoyed about it, the visitors are annoyed about it, and I think it is causing an issue with people going to Polperro because it puts them off. Anyway, let's get into the video and let's explore beautiful Polperro. So, Polperro topped the list of the 50 coolest places to live by health and fitness supplements brand Nature Can. The results come from a poll of 5,000 people, including local polling in Cornwall. Polperro has been used several times as a film location, and popular TV series such as the BBC's Hairy Bikers and ITV's Echo Beach have been shot here. Each of the top 50 places are big favourites with fans on Instagram who love sharing pictures of the most photogenic buildings and views. Now, the dreaded car park. As I said, it's cash only and starts from £7 for 3 hours. So be prepared and bring change, as it's the only public car park here in Polperro and is still privately owned. I wonder why they want you to pay in cash. Well guys, welcome to sunny, wintry Polperro. It's very quiet here today. The perfect kind of time for exploring the beautiful harbour and the lovely village. Well, it's not packed full of tourists. It's one of them lovely crisp winter days as well, and you can just hear the river flowing next to me here as I walk down. The river runs right down through the village centre all the way out to the sea, and it makes it quite a serene walk down. I can see smoke coming out of the chimneys, the beautiful trees up above, and some lovely houses, although lots of them empty at this time of year because most of them will be, of course, holiday accommodation. So let's explore the beautiful village and fishing port of Polperro. In Polperro, it's easy to step back in time in what is largely an unspoilt fishing village on the south coast of Cornwall. Its beautiful cottages cling to steep hillsides around a small harbour with spectacular views of land and sea, making it somewhat of an artist's paradise. Polperro must rank as one of the most picturesque villages in Cornwall, if not England. The road into the village snakes down the steep-sided coombe, mainly free of traffic, meaning you can enjoy wandering through the streets, browsing the shops that major in locally made handicrafts and confectionery. There's also plenty of places to eat and drink, from award-winning restaurants to traditional Cornish pubs. Get the camera ready for when you reach the picturesque harbour, especially if the tide is in. And make a point of visiting the Smuggling Museum, where you'll find out all about the village's sea-based trials and tribulations. I'd definitely say Polperro is really seasonal. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen anywhere quite so quiet in Cornwall out of season as here. Although we are here on a weekday, it's not the weekend, and I'm filming this in January, early January, but yeah, it is scarily quiet here. I think that just goes to show that obviously most people staying here and visiting here will be coming in the summer from the big holiday parks near Looe and Polperro, for example. Still though, a beautiful place to visit, and if you fancy a bit of a quieter one, this is definitely the time to come. Dotted around the village, there are several galleries carrying on the tradition of artists who have fallen in love with the views over the years. We think you'll do the same, and just to make sure, we recommend walking up the coastal path either side of the harbour to capture the view looking back over the village. We promise you won't regret it. The southwest coast path passes through Polperro and offers spectacular views and access to beautiful beaches, both to the east and west. Heading east towards Looe, you reach Talon Bay after about a mile. Here, there's a choice of beaches and some wonderful rock pools to discover when the tide is out. Continuing on to Looe, you will pass other quieter coves, even in the summer months. For those not wishing to explore far, Polperro has its own small sandy beach located just outside the main harbour. The beach is in front of Willie Wilcox's cave, believed to have been used by smugglers. There's also a man-made tidal pool on the seaward of Chapel Cliff, to the right of the harbour mouth. Here, many a local has first learnt to swim, away from the waves of the ocean. So if you're feeling brave, especially in January, go and find it and take a dip. These roads through Polperro are tiny and probably never designed for cars. It's quite nice to walk around, I have to say. Very, very beautiful and picturesque. And I think this is why you park at the top of the town and walk down, because you wouldn't get your car down here unless it was very small. And I mean very small. So, Polperro is actually known for its narrow winding streets and lanes. The village's steep slopes make for extra narrow streets. However, the streets are often traffic free, making it a pleasant place to walk around. Many of the stone cottages in Polperro were built before the advent of motor vehicles 200 or 300 years ago. During the late 1700s and early 1800s, Polperro was heavily involved in the smuggling trade, with boats crossing the channel between Cornwall and France all the time, bringing back all sorts of goods, mainly to avoid paying heavy taxes. Over the years, it's the alcohol and tobacco that is usually talked about, but less romantic goods such as salt were just as important to the people of Polperro. Salt was needed to cure the oily fish such as pilchards, caught in their thousands by the villagers, and a staple diet throughout the year. The government in London increased the tax on salt to fund wars with the French, so the fishermen imported it from France illegally. Of course, they still brought in barrels of rum, brandy and gin, unloaded and under the cover of darkness in local coves such as Talland and Lancellos. Stories talk of hidden tunnels under the village. One was said to come out of the back of the cave on the beach. And there are also tales of ghosts of headless smugglers charging through the streets on horseback. As you meander down through town, you'll end up at the picturesque and beautiful harbour here at Polperro, which is very naturally sheltered from all of the elements and thus makes a great fishing harbour, fishing port. And originally, of course, it was used to catch pilchards, as were many Cornish fishing ports and harbours. It's just beautiful down here. I highly recommend you visit. Polperro's smuggling history is well documented because at the time it was happening, all the comings and goings of boats were recorded by a man called Zephaniah Job. When he died, the villagers tried to destroy the evidence, but much of it survived and forms the basis of the information displayed in a museum, which is well worth a visit. There's even a little beach here at Polperro just behind me now, and you can start to see why the harbour is so protected from the sea when you're down here, because of the massive harbour wall just over here. That and the way that the harbour kind of bends round in with the natural covering of hills up there, it just makes the sea much more calmer in that harbour there. So you can see why it made a great place to put a little fishing port. And what a beautiful view out to sea today from the harbour here at Polperro. Now, for those of you in the know, there's a brilliant pub here on the harbour called the Blue Peter Inn, very famous. Somewhere I've not been for about 11 years now. Let's head to the Blue Peter Inn for a good old pint, and hopefully they've got some corav. Nestled between ancient smugglers' cottages on the harbour and Fish Quay, just a few yards from the beach. The Blue, as it's affectionately known, is one of the quaintest pubs you may ever come across. The Blue is steeped in history dating back to the 18th century. This charming pub with its low beam ceilings, wooden floors and a welcoming open fire has long been an essential part of the village's life. Originally frequented by fishermen and smugglers, the inn reflects Polperro's storied past. Like I said guys, you can't come to Polperro without going to the Blue Peter Inn for a pint of the good stuff, Cornish lager, corav of course. Cheers. Gurtlash. After a great visit to the Blue Peter Inn and a few coravs later, as the sun starts to slowly set across the harbour here at Polperro, we take a final stroll around the village and reflect on this magical Cornish gem of a place. We hope you too get to visit the magical Polperro soon. As always guys, thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video on the beautiful, the stunning Polperro, and as always we'll see you in the next one.